Keyboard Exchange International.
Hi folks, Jim Huss from Keyboard Exchange with Mr. Grant, our senior technician in our electronics shop. And Grant, I wanted you to be in this video so we can kind of reminisce about a previous video that we did together. When this organ came to us was unfinished. It was a beautiful black walnut cabinet that was custom made by Amish craftsmen in either Pennsylvania or Ohio about 15 years ago. And if you recall the story, and we should probably do a link to the original video for people. What do you remember about the original story when we got this case and was unfinished? Because you met Bob, the guy that sold it to us.
Yeah. We went to Bob's house. He had this case that was empty, but all the pieces are here, all the wood pieces, and bench and pedals as well. And he also had an empty case that was in another room that we believed, and he believed, belonged to Greg Allman.
Or was used by Greg Allman.
Certainly, yeah. I'm fairly certain in subsequent conversations with some other people that Greg Allman did play it in King Snake Studios that Bob owned.
Okay.
But it was not owned by him.
Okay, there you go.
So we referred to it as the Allman Brothers B3 several times in the video. But anyhow, this was Bob's project. He wanted to take all of the guts from this old B3 that was in very poor shape. The legs were off of it. It had been hit with the ugly stick pretty bad.
Oh yeah, it was in pieces.
Yeah.
But when we put it back together and did a lot of cool work, man, it was as good as anything.
Once it was refinished and we had everything tightened up with the legs and stuff, it was in perfect shape.
Yeah, one of our premium restoration projects, I would say.
Yeah, it was lengthy.
Yeah.
But Bob had intended to take the guts from that one and put them all in here, and he had already done some of the work. He had taken the manuals apart. He had already recapped the generator with orange caps, or orange drop caps, and so we got all of those materials. We had boxes and boxes of stuff, and when we realized we were going to be able to salvage the original organ, we had that refinished, and we put all of those original parts back into that organ because we like to keep everything together.
Yeah, not all the original parts.
Not all, but most.
I recall what we did was we decided to use a newer, less used set of keyboards that were appropriate for the project. But okay, so that was kind of like the story when Grant and I and Smooth Move Bill, who's currently on camera, he was in that video with us too. Yeah. Was it just three of us, or was it seemed like it was four of us?
Maybe Randolph was there.
Randolph was in it. Yeah. And we were all talking about the King Snake B3 that was played by Greg Allman, and we got a lot of circumstantial evidence on that, and some really interesting input from people who knew Greg and who knew about the organ at King Snake. But this was the case that the guy, Bob, who bought the B3 from King Snake Studio, he was going to put all those Greg Allman parts into this case.
Right.
Yeah. But we decided to put all as many of the original we call it the Greg Allman parts, into the Greg Allman case to keep it as authentic as possible. It sounded great. We sold it to our friend Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff loves that instrument, and the Leslie matches, and it looks beautiful. So we have a matching Leslie now for this cabinet as well. So Grant, your task, along with Smooth Move Bill, is to select the best possible parts. And I know you already mentioned a specific red cap tone generator that you want to put in here.
Yeah. We have several generators, as you know, on the shelf. We occasionally get an organ that's the case is just not salvageable, and we save parts for just such an occasion as this. So we have one. It's a probably late '60s generator from, I'm not sure if it was an A100 or B3, but
Or C3.
Or C3, but
Yeah.
they're interchangeable.
Yep.
And that one's ready to go. It's been oiled and gone over, and it's in perfect shape. We're going to find a pair of manuals for this as well that are in excellent shape, and any little things that we have to do to them to make them perfect, we will do those things. And in this case, when we build one from the ground up like this, we do lots of extra stuff that we might not get into in a lot of our restorations because everything is out.
Everything.
And so when we're putting things back in, we examine everything, we clean it all up, we're polishing screws and everything, because it's all apart and you might as well do it while you've got everything out. And so it'll have a lot of pretty much all new wiring except for the wiring that's included inside of the manuals, and lots of little tidbits that 50 years from now some tech will go to pull this thing apart and he'll discover what we did and he'll say, wow, these guys they cleaned that too. Wow. Because Bill and I get a little crazy cleaning it all up.
I know, you guys put your best possible effort. Now, to your point about the wiring for the electronics that carries only audio signals, that is usually pretty solid from an original organ. Where we run into the biggest problem of internal wiring is with AC wiring, and that carries the electrical current. Now, Bill and I were talking the other day. He said, "Gee, every organ that I redo the wiring on, the wire comes out. It's brittle. It just the insulation, the rubber insulation, just breaks apart in my hands, and you're looking at bare wire." So back in the 50s and so when some of these early 60s when these Hammonds were made, they used a rubber-coated insulation on their wires, electrical wires. So now the more modern way to do that is use vinyl-covered wire for the insulating factor.
Correct.
So that's what we do. That's like one of the first things that happens to every organ that we restore is we eliminate that potential fire hazard, and then we don't ever go out and just install a Leslie on a 60-year-old organ, because you have to disturb all that wiring.
Right.
A lot of people want us to come out and install a Leslie and even a new Leslie on an old organ. Well, yeah, but we would rather have the organ come in here first and replace all that electrical wiring, ground and fuse the system, all things that they didn't know to do 50, 60 years ago.
Right.
So that's what you and Bill are taking care of, and I just wanted people to know how much I appreciate you guys in the electronic shop, because when you're finished, that organ's ready for another musical lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, these organs, the original ones have already lasted for 50, 60 years, but now pretty much all of them, if they haven't been restored properly, they need that internal restoration. So number 549 is the reference number on this case. In the coming months, you're going to see some progress, and then eventually it'll be on the showroom floor. And then, hey, somebody out there might say, oh man, I'm so excited about that and what you're going to do to it. This is solid black walnut. I put the back on this today. We haven't put the holes in for the back screws yet, but this weighs twice as much as normal.
Weighs a ton.
This whole thing is solid wood. There's very little, maybe zero veneer here. This is solid black walnut. I would venture a guess and say there are very few, if any, that are built like this. This is a unique specimen of a custom B3 case. So, any other thoughts before we say goodbye and close out this video, Grant?
No, I think you've covered everything.
Well, I think you covered quite a bit of it. Now, what I want you to do, you and Bill, you take it from here and bring it across the finish line, all right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for your time and attention, folks. Jim Huss and Mr. Grant signing off here from Keyboard Exchange International. Where are we today?
Sunny Sanford, Florida.
All right. God bless you, folks. Thanks for watching our video, and thank you also for helping keep the Hammond Tone Wheel B3 organ alive. We couldn't do all this work that we do here without you. And it would also help greatly if you could subscribe, like, ask for notifications for when we have new videos. That would be a big help for us. So we thank you once again. I'm signing off for now, but we will be back.